All right, welcome, people. Welcome back to Love Us Anyway. I'm your host, Fontasia, and today I have the dynamic Donna Ray with me. Hey, Donna.
Good afternoon. How are ya?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching or tuning in. Today we're diving into something we all do. Complain. It's part of the human experience, whether it's about traffic, work, family, friendships. We were just talking about a lot of different things, probably even popping on. But we can even complain about the weather. Complaining is one of those habits that shows up in all of our lives in so many different ways. And the thing about it is, it's not always bad, right? Complaining can be a way of expressing stress, needing to be heard, or connecting with others too. But when it becomes constant, it can weigh us down and shift the way we really experience life. And that comes with like being in the present moment, like really just experiencing life. Are we going to let complaining take over our experiences? Or are we going to make, what's the saying, make lemonade out of lemons? I've been saying that a lot lately. Right, Donna? What do you think?
So that was a great example, the weather, right? The weather is the weather. The weather is neutral. We all experience the weather.
Hmm.
And we complain when it's cold. We complain when it's hot. We
Right.
complain when the days are short. We complain when the days are long. And that's just a prime example of that. We literally have no control of the weather.
Hmm.
None. All we can do is just talk about it. And then it's like, okay, well, why talk about something we don't have any control or we can't change? So then it's like, okay, so how can we apply that concept or that example to other things in our lives, right?
Hmm.
And complaining about something that's out of your control. Now, it's different when you're talking about something because you're strategizing or
Okay.
you're coming up with a plan or, right? But complaining for me, historically, I thought I was telling the facts.
Mm,
But actually I was complaining about a situation and wanting to pull somebody else in
mm,
to agree with me or to tell me it's going to be okay.
mhm,
I was telling the story in such a way.
mhm,
And complaining does have some kind of energy around it. I know when I'm complaining, like I can feel it. And when I catch myself that I want to pull back.
mm. And that's a noticing. That's part of your mindfulness practice. That's something that you've practiced to notice when I'm in this state. Okay, now what do I do about that? How do I navigate that? But everybody doesn't have a practice in that sense to notice when it's happening and how it's affecting them and or others around them, right? Like some people just don't. And it's still, even for us, even, or I speak for myself, it takes time. But it takes time in noticing, wait a second, why am I, like you said, complaining about things that you can't control, one, and then navigating the experience once you realize that you can't control it. What do you do about it? And sometimes I feel like we don't even realize that we're doing it. It can feel like almost second nature for some, almost like background noise in our daily conversations. And I feel like mindfulness gives us that gift of noticing, like you just mentioned. So when we pause and become aware of how often or when we're in the midst of a complaint, we may shift that and start to ask ourselves, what's underneath all of this? Am I tired? Am I in need of some support? Am I holding on to an expectation that isn't being met in this moment? And then kind of visit some of those scenarios to figure out, why am I complaining in this way? Am I
So
frustrated?
something happened on Saturday. It started on Friday and then the second part of it happened on Saturday. And
Okay.
so I was talking to someone, and as I was sharing, I was in my mind, I was like, am I complaining? And I
Mm-hmm.
I would say no, that I
Mm-hmm.
was more processing to see how I could have handled it differently or caught
Okay.
on quicker. So I
Mm-hmm.
was processing. but then it started I kind of felt myself kind of going into complaining, and so I was able to pull myself back. So
Mm-hmm.
what does that look like? Because I was leaning in, I could feel my voice getting, more high pitched, and I was getting into some details of it that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't need to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So when I felt myself, I literally felt my me come back into my body. I had come
Mm-hmm.
out of my body, and
Mm-hmm.
then I was able to bring myself back in. And part of that was the expression on the other person's face, right? Like I
Okay.
could feel it, I could see it,
Yeah.
and then I was like, okay, I'm starting to go down the complaining route. And so then I was able to bring myself back. And so the biggest um I guess I got what I needed from that conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
what do I mean by that? Just processing what I could have done differently so
Mm-hmm.
that maybe I can apply that next time. So
Yeah.
then I'm not going to keep talking about that specific instance, because to me that's complaining also, because I've already corrected.
Yeah.
I've learned the lesson in that.
Yeah.
So I don't need to keep bringing it up. Sometimes that's an complaining because I generate that ongoing story, and it's like it's over.
Right. Right. Yeah. That I have a lot of appreciation around your share. And yeah, I kind of noticed, and then I looked at the body language and I was like, wait, where am I going with this? And let me kind of navigate this a little bit. And it's a difference between complaining and just sharing information, right? Complaining comes from a place of emotional charge, usually frustration or annoyance or negativity, and sometimes we'll circle around the same issue over and over again, or focus on what's wrong, unfair, or irritating versus trying to find the good or some joy or a little bit of gratitude from what's actually happening. And with complaining, the energy of it all feels heavy and draining and sometimes even contagious. And I know for me, I've been in spaces where people are complaining and complaining. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to be around this. I want to remove myself because this isn't the type of energy that I want to be connected to. Um, but then when we share information, it's a little different. It's more of a neutral tone, more about what is rather than what's wrong. And then, it's rooted in facts or experiences without that extra judgment layered on in the form of complaining. And when we share information, like you mentioned, you was like, I'm trying to navigate something. It could lead to that like problem solving, right? Like that connection, that awareness. And then the energy feels a little lighter when we're sharing information, more constructive. We can kind of receive some information and things like that. So, yeah, it's definitely a difference between complaining and sharing information with someone to try to navigate some things versus just the negative aspects of what complaining looks like. And what that reminds me is about the iceberg analogy, where what we see on the surface is the complaint, but underneath are like the stressors, the disappointments, the frustrations, or even the deeper needs. And doesn't really tell us, well, mindfulness doesn't tell us to shut down the complaint, right? Because we have noticings. Instead, it gives us some tools. What can I observe? How can I observe this thought without any judgment? How can I shift from complaining to problem solving or gratitude, like I mentioned and you mentioned problem solving? Or when can I choose to simply let it pass without giving it any more time or energy? And navigating those kind of questions, it would gives me a little bit of pause. And it's like instead of spiraling into negativity, we can pause and ask ourselves, what do I need right now? You know?
What I'd add to that is who are you sharing it with? Who are you talking to it about, with?
Mm-hmm.
And when you choose the person that's going to help you problem solve or help you notice, that's probably the person that you're going to actually process the information with versus someone that is going to be like Team Donna. Well, of course, right? And then
Right.
I'm getting something from that too, some kind of hit from that.
Mm-hmm.
But process it, and then learn, and then put it into action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I too have done that, gone to somebody, and then 90 minutes later, and do I feel seen? Yes. Do I feel heard? Do I feel loved? Yes. But then there's still some icky around it, right? Because
Hmm.
we're bonding over something, complaining. And
Hmm.
I won't be able to get to the next level, keep operating in that complaint space, in that complaint cycle.
Hmm. That's good. That's good. Like the natural human experience, we all want to be seen, heard, and supported. And complaining is one of those ways we try to get those needs met. But when we integrate our mindfulness practice, it reminds us that there are more soothing, maybe more gentle, maybe more empowering ways to really care for ourselves and connect with others as well. Um, so that's sweet. That's a sweet noticing and awareness right there. Would you add anything to the topic of complaining and or maybe something or a practice that is supportive for you or has been supportive for you um, in the midst of it happening?
Be the practice that I would offer is be where your feet are, right? So if you're sitting in the break room, or uh, feel your feet on the ground. And when you feel yourself starting to float away, just come back to the present moment. And I say feet, but it could be looking around the space, right? So chair, door, thermostat, plant, right? Like just quietly to yourself, to bring yourself to this moment, instead of what happened on Thursday, what
Right.
happened on Saturday, what's going to happen tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
Chair, door, thermostat. I'm bringing myself back to right now at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And also gratitude. Bring in some gratefulness or some gratitude for what is, right? And what's true and what feels good. So, being thankful for being able to spend time with Donna, being thankful for being able to have the sun out versus the rain, being thankful for to have a roof over my head, being thankful to have funds to be able to do this thing that maybe didn't turn out right and now I'm complaining, right? So, but being thankful and bringing in gratitude in those experiences as well when you feel like complaining possibly settling in to look for the good in whatever's happening. So, as you whoever's listening or watching, as you move through your week, just notice when you catch yourself complaining, take a mindful breath, pause, and ask, what's really underneath this? You might find it's not about the traffic or the weather at all. It's about your heart needing care in that moment and maybe connecting with what's around you. Chair, thermostat, wall, right? Or maybe it's bringing in gratitude and creating those lemons into lemonade. So we appreciate you. We love you. This is a beautiful topic that we can carry on. And I feel it's comfortable to leave it here because love us anyway, even when we're complaining. Loving you, loving us anyway. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, see y'all later.